Larisa Svechin. I'm your mayor. I'm here with Spencer Hennings, who is the Florida Condominium Ombudsman. We're very happy to have him here to answer a few questions that many of our residents may have. So, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So, can you tell us a little bit about your office and
Sure.
where you're located?
Absolutely. So our main office is in Fort Lauderdale. We have an office in Tallahassee, and for the past year or so, I've been coming down here and having meetings with the unit owners, as you know, and thank you for welcoming me into this city. Also, I do that in Miami Beach. What the office does is we are a neutral resource for our state's condo owners. So we provide education on the law. People reach out to us and say, this is going on in my condo, what are my rights, what are my responsibilities? And we can help people we can guide people through understanding what their rights and responsibilities are. Aside from education, we work to resolve issues in condos as well. So when we resolve issues, because I'm not a judge, I don't sanction anyone and I don't enforce anything on people. There's a process to do that. That's not what my office does.
So how would people file a complaint if they were concerned about their condo board or their building?
Sure. So it's an informal process. It's really not an official complaint. That's something that the DBPR does. But from my office, people can reach out when they have an issue. And if there's a violation of the law happening, what we try to do is get that resolved so that it doesn't have to become litigation. It doesn't have to become an official complaint. And we use an educational approach to do that. A lot of times the issues that I see have been created from a lack of understanding and a lack of education.
Okay, and do you get involved in actual elections?
We do. That's one of the best resources that we provide. So the legislature has given my office the ability to monitor and conduct condominium elections. Basically, unit owners or board members, any member of the association, can send a petition to my office, and that has to be signed by either 15% of the members in the association or 6 unit owners, whichever is greater, be that 15% or 6. Once we receive that petition, we validate it and make sure that it's legally sufficient. And then I appoint a monitor to go physically to that condominium's election. And we have about 30 monitors throughout the state that I've personally trained, and they physically go out to the association and they conduct the election. We make sure that it's 100% fair, 100% transparent, and afterwards the election monitor will submit a report to my office giving a play-by-play of everything that happened at the election.
And is there a cost to that?
There is. The monitor gets compensated for his or her time. The state does not take any money from this. It's a sliding scale. It depends on how many units the association has. It's very, very reasonable, anywhere from $250 to closer to $1,000 if it's a larger association.
So after the tragedy in Surfside, many buildings are now experiencing assessments. I have residents calling, asking me what they can do when they feel the assessment is not fair or too much, and they want to refuse to pay it. How would you recommend that they proceed?
I would never recommend someone refuse to pay the assessment outright. You do not have the ability to do that. If proper procedure was followed based on Florida law and the association's governing documents to pass a special assessment, then you as a unit owner are obligated to pay it. If you don't pay it, the association could potentially lien and foreclose your unit. You could lose your home if you don't pay it. Definitely would not recommend withholding payment. But what I would say is get involved and make sure that the procedure that it was passed was correct. There's a notice and a meeting requirement to pass a special assessment. And based on your governing documents and your specific association, it could require a unit owner vote, or it could just be a board matter that the board could do individually. So get involved, make sure you're going to the meetings, make sure your voice is being heard, and then at the end of the day, the association should be doing with the money what everyone wants, and it should be running like a little democracy.
Great. Can you tell me a little bit about what they can do as far as getting documents? Many people feel that they don't have access to those documents, so they're not able to review what you're talking about.
Sure. So what the law says is that unit owners are entitled to inspect the official records of the association. There's a whole list of items that are considered official records per Florida statute, And there's also a catch-all in the Florida law that basically says anything that's related to the running of the association is included in the official records. The process for obtaining that is you have to serve your association a request, essentially, to inspect the records. When you do that and they receive that request, the association has 10 business days to provide you with access.
And how do they make that request?
You can make it a number of ways. The way that I recommend unit owners to make the request is with certified mail requesting a return receipt. That way you can actually prove the association received the request. If you're worried that they're not going to honor it, in order to file a complaint with the state, which is something you can do if they don't provide you with access, you need to be able to prove that you actually asked for those records.
So you need evidence.
Correct.
Great. Is there anything else you can add as far as giving advice to our condo owners and tenants on how to make it a more smoother and easier relationship between condo owners and the boards?
Sure. I think education is absolutely number one. Number two is going to be transparency, or they're tied for number one, I can't decide. But with education, my office and the Division of Condos up in Tallahassee and the Florida Bar actually have this joint initiative that we've launched to provide education throughout the state for free. So we just had our second webinar. We had a few hundred people on it. It was great, and we're really looking forward to advancing that initiative. Like I said earlier, I think that a lot of the issues that arise in condos arise because of a lack of education, a lack of understanding what the law actually requires. Secondly, transparency. Go to the meetings, make sure your voice is heard, respectfully, of course. Try not to get into yelling matches. I don't think that really solves anything. But make sure that you're following what the association is doing. Get involved. Run for the board if you feel up for it. Although a lot of times it's a thankless job, we need good board members running these associations.
All right, thank you, and we look forward to seeing more of you and hearing more about what you're doing in your office.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you.